You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Hey, I don't care if I lose a race, if I lose an election. People voted for me to do the right thing, to be a champion for our community.
State Representative Joe Gruder is looking to make the move up to state senator, but he'll have to defeat Olivia Babbis first. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have the debate between State Representative Joe Gruder and Olivia Babbis in a moment. But first, our top stories at 7. And we begin tonight with the mad scramble to pick a Democrat to replace the late April Freeman in the race for the 17th Congressional District. We know who it won't be. A federal judge has just rejected two candidates who wanted to face off with Republican Greg Steube. A judge has ruled David Walker, who just lost the Democratic primary for state agricultural commissioner, and Pam Keith, who just lost the Democratic primary for Congress in another district, are both not eligible. The hearing was scheduled after Keith sued to overturn a Florida law prohibiting her from running. Democratic leaders in the 9 counties that make up the 17th Congressional District have until tomorrow to name a candidate. A conference call to pick a candidate will take place at 9 p.m. tonight. The construction is underway on a controversial intersection in eastern Manatee County where 2 Lakewood Ranch high school students were killed last month. The issue is State Road 64 East at Pope Road. For now, FDOT is temporarily closing the left turn lane from westbound State Road 64 onto Pope Road. Earlier this year, it placed a directional median in the middle of the intersection to help reduce the number of crashes. FDOT is also beginning the process to move forward with the proposed permanent closure of the left turn onto Pope Road until construction begins for a roundabout.
If it could save a life, I mean, as a father, you know, having my son driving every morning and every night, I personally like it because I know that he's safe every day. Every time we had an accident here, I stressed to my son that, hey, slow down. Please be careful because it's a lot of accidents. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen cars flipped over and fire and tragedy. So I'm actually happy that they're doing something better instead of nothing.
This is what the roundabout will look like once it's completed. FDOT says after months of evaluations and surveys of the intersection, a roundabout would be much more effective. There is no word on when construction will begin. And in Sarasota County, a new report says more crashes happened last year at the Jacaranda roundabout in Venice than any other roundabout in the area. In fact, more crashes happened there than at the other 13 roundabouts in the county combined. But out of the 50 crashes, only 2 resulted in injury, and there were no fatalities, which is why experts say they're safer than typical 4-way intersections. A former star football player at Venice High School has been arrested for a second time for allegedly selling cocaine. Sarasota Sheriff's deputies say on September 21st, Jeremy Troubles Jr. sold crack cocaine to an undercover detective for $50. Troubles was taken into custody and charged with the sale of cocaine, violation of probation, and driving with a suspended license. Troubles was first arrested on charges of selling cocaine back in January. A series of new laws take effect today, including a measure adding benefits for first responders who suffer post-traumatic stress disorder. The change in Florida law will expand workers' compensation insurance benefits for firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and EMTs who suffer from PTSD. Under the law, the first responders who have witnessed the death of a minor or witnessed a death that involved grievous bodily harm can file workers' compensation claims for lost wages.
Where we can react with a common sense approach of getting them the therapies and benefits they need in order to lead a normal life, it's our obligation to do so.
Other laws taking effect range from allowing credit cards to be used for background checks when firearms are purchased to tougher punishment for people who steal bee colonies or trespass at airports. These and 17 other new laws taking effect today were passed during the legislative session that ended in March. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. So folks on the area beaches today saw a lot of social media posts saying it was okay as far as the red tide goes. It's mainly due to that east wind. We saw the east wind all weekend long, and that keeps everything as far as the harmful impacts offshore. You can see a few brief showers out there too. Those heading off to the east. Not much of a sea breeze developing today, and that means we're not seeing a lot of widespread shower and thunderstorm activity around town. We've had a few brief showers now and again, and you can see the heaviest storm now off of Pinellas County, pushing off to the the west, we had a few brief showers near Inglewood, Northport, also some just to the west of Parrish earlier this afternoon. Most of the activity is winding on down. We have that strong east wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour, and we have a little disturbance to the north and east of us now in the upper levels of the atmosphere, a trough of low pressure. This trough, by the way, will drift in our direction tomorrow, so look for a few more showers and a few more storms around. We'll still see that steady east wind, and that will warm things up above average. Our high today was 91, and we're expecting similar readings again tomorrow. It feels like 91 even at this hour, although the temperature is at 85. That's due to the relative humidity at 65%. We have an east to northeast wind at 11 miles an hour. And you can see from the GOES 16 satellite imagery, the enhanced satellite imagery, showing that little trough of low pressure right there located over the northeastern part of the state. That's enhanced the storms there from Daytona Beach northward to Jacksonville. That is drifting to the south and west, so expect a few brief showers still through this evening. Most areas staying dry, however. Mostly fair overnight, low temperatures into the mid-70s. Our normal low for this time of year right around 72 degrees, so we'll still be a few degrees above that to start things off tomorrow. But for drop-off for the kids and for your commute, no problems weather-wise as things look to be pretty calm to start the day on Tuesday. Well, much more of the rest of the work week forecast and take a look at the tropics coming up in a few minutes. Alan?
Bob, thank you. The retirement of Congressman Tom Rooney set a whole lot of dominoes into motion, with State Senator Greg Steube now running for the open seat in Congress. The question is, who replaces Steube in the state Senate? Joe Gruters is a man with many titles: state representative, Sarasota County Republican chairman, and he was Donald Trump's Florida co-chair. This is Olivia Babbis's first run for office, but she has an impressive background, including a degree in history and political science. She works at the Suncoast Center for Independent Living, serves on the Sarasota Board of Citizens with Disabilities, and was an organizer for the Florida Consumer Action Network. And we want to welcome both of you to the trapezoid. So we're going to begin with opening arguments. And Joe, why don't we start with you?
Thanks, Alan. Thanks for putting this on. Thanks, Olivia, for coming on here today and for running. You know, it's not easy for anybody to run, and so for anybody who gets in this arena, they deserve a lot of credit. I'm a fourth-generation Sarasotan. This is my life. I'm raising my 3 kids here. My oldest child goes to the public school system, with 2 on the way. I'm a CPA, so I'm a businessman, not a politician. I have the managing partner of Pioli and Gruters. We have offices in Sarasota and Manatee counties. I currently represent Sarasota and Manatee in the state legislature. And my whole goal and mission is to do everything I can to make our area the best possible place to live and work. I think I bring common sense to the debate in Tallahassee. I'm willing to stand up to do what I think is the right thing. I'm one of the Orlando Sentinel called me their champion for going after dark money. The Orlando Sentinel also noted that I was one of the top, I think, 7 or 8 members out of 160 to break ranks from their party to do what they think is right. And I'm going to go up to Tallahassee to fight for everyone in our community to try to bring common sense legislation back to town.
All right, thank you, Olivia.
Yes, thank you so much for hosting tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. I grew up in Florida. My entire family's from Florida. I'm a 3rd-generation Floridian. I attended public schools here in Florida myself, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you about my idyllic experiences in the Florida public school systems, because I didn't have that. Growing up in Florida with a disability was a real challenge here, and I had to fight for my right for a free and appropriate public education in the Florida school systems. And we have a lot of students that are still struggling with those issues years after I graduated from school here, and are dealing with new issues now because of the voucher programs, because of the for-profit schools here. 40% of the people in this district are housing insecure. We have senior citizens that 32% of the people here are on food stamps. So we have a lot of issues that aren't being addressed by the Florida legislature. We have a lot of people that feel that they don't have adequate representation in Tallahassee. And so that's why I decided to throw my hat in the ring. I've dealt with these issues personally. I deal with these issues professionally every day at the Center for Independent Living, where I work with other marginalized communities that are really struggling with housing, with health care, with the issues that aren't being addressed.
Okay, thank you both. When we return, the debate begins. What will be my first question? Stick around.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Hello, Mom.
Amanda's mom's appointment just got rescheduled for today. Amanda needs right at home. Our customized care plan provides as much or as little help as her mom requires, whether it's a ride to the doctor or help around the house.
Oh, of course. Tom, I am really sorry. I've got to go.
Look, call right at home.
Get the right care right at home.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Ghetto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Ghetto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Ghetto location near you or visit Ghetto.com.
Ghetto's got it.
The Players Center presents the wild Broadway season opener, Annie, Get Your Gun. There's no business like show business. This slice of magical American musical theater will thrill you with the classic tunes of Irving Berlin. Call the Players Center at 365-2494 or visit us at theplayers.org. Annie, Get Your Gun, September 18th through October 7th. Let's go on with the show.
I heard about the Detoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Detoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Serving part-time as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment to get an edge in the civilian world. Learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you at nationalguard.com.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. Talk with your doctor to create a treatment plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Welcome back to the State Senate District 23 debate between Republican Joe Gruters and Democrat Olivia Babbis. And Olivia, I'm going to give you the first question. All races are about who should voters hire and who should they not hire. Why should voters hire you for the State Senate?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, I work at the Center for Independent Living. I work with the people within this community every day. So I am in touch with the needs of the community. I am out there in the environment, so I understand what is happening within the district. As we said, we know that 40% of the people in this district are housing insecure, but yet the Florida legislature has been raiding the Sadowski Affordable Housing Trust Fund for decades, or for a good 15 years now. So we're not addressing affordable housing. We have failed to address healthcare issues and healthcare reform, and many of the people in this district are suffering from issues with addressing healthcare. We have one of the longest med waiver wait lists in the country, and this impacts this district particularly as we're one of the oldest districts in the country. So we have people that are waiting for services on the long-term care wait list that are never going to receive services. A lot of these people are going to die before they make it to the top of the wait list, and we actually had 6,500 people die in 2016 waiting for services on these wait lists. We haven't reformed or expanded Medicaid here. So there's a lot of issues that just aren't being addressed that greatly impact this community.
Joe, why should voters hire you and not Olivia for the State Senate?
Well, I think based on my record in Tallahassee already, although it's only been 2 years, I think I've proven myself as a fighter, as someone that's willing to challenge leadership, that's willing to go against the grain, to try to do what they think is right. I am a conservative, there's no denying that. But I will do what I think is in our community's best interest, whether it's on education, environment, healthcare, anything other, or any of these other issues that are important. I will do all I can to represent the entire community, and I hopefully will bring up some common sense to the Senate and continue on the leadership of people like Lisa Carlton and Nancy Dieter, who served in this seat previously, and do all I can to fight for our community.
Okay. We have to take a quick break. Our debate for State Senate District 23 continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, on the Valways, a webcam showing nice conditions out there on the waters. A steady east wind bringing in a few occasional showers now and again. Not a lot of activity going on, but we have had a few showers around. Nice sunset, though, getting ready to go on right here in just a few minutes. Send your pictures into Pix, P-I-X, at mysuncoast.com. Well, we showed you this satellite imagery earlier. You can see this little line, if you will, of clouds and showers and storms extending all the way up into just off the coast of Georgia and near Daytona Beach. That's where the rain has been. It's been pretty heavy there. This little piece of energy is going to be heading to the southwest tomorrow and will be in place. A little bit more moisture coming back into play will kick off a few more showers. But until then, it's the east wind tonight. A few brief showers are possible, then fair skies overnight, followed by temperatures a little bit above average once again. We are looking at some showers around, scattered about, pushing from the east to the west right now. Some activity offshore. You can see that starting to fire up, some lightning there. That may be where the sea breeze is, so there's a little convergence taking place offshore mainly. I think that'll be the case again tomorrow. There won't be much of a chance for that west coast sea breeze to develop and kind of collide with that east wind, causing the storms to really intensify here like we saw last week. But that isn't going to be the case tomorrow, I don't think. Once again, there'll be a few more storms around, but not nearly as intense as they were last week. Well, in the tropics, we continue to watch Leslie out there spinning around, not doing a whole lot, except for dispersing the excessive heat. That's what these hurricanes and tropical systems do. They mix up the atmosphere and the water to keep things mild, at least relatively mild. Considering if we didn't have them, that excessive heat would just go on and on and on, and water temperatures would be up to 100 degrees during the summer. But nonetheless, you can see this circulation here. It's getting better organized. It's drifting to the south now. Conditions are becoming more favorable for this to strengthen into a hurricane. In fact, the next couple of days, the Hurricane Center is suggesting it'll be a strong Category 1 hurricane on Wednesday and then head back northward as a tropical system. This could be the longest lasting storm all season long as it just kind of hangs out there in the Atlantic. Well, the next storm up is Michael, and I can tell you this, the long-range computer forecast model, the European in particular, is showing something popping up around 10th, 11th of this month near Florida, mainly near the Bahamas in Florida, and then moving up in the East Coast. I can't really say that's where it's going to be, but when it hints at something that there's going to be something developing around that time, we have to keep an eye on it on all coasts here in the state of Florida. So Michael will be the next name up. We'll see. Typically the second week in October, we see cold fronts move down too, and so that means any storm that does develop usually moves out of here fairly quickly as a result of a cold front. Nadine will be the next one. Hopefully that'll be it. Oscar possibly in November. We'll see how it plays out, but for the most part, looks like nothing going on here for the next week and a half. 85 degrees in Sarasota now, 79 in Orlando, and temperatures into the mid-80s, so not a lot of cooling showers to bring us down in the 70s right now. Still feels like the low 90s out there, but the humidity is lower, so that's a little bit more bearable as far as that goes. Water temperature at 86 degrees. High temperature today was 91. We've cooled to 85 now, and it feels like 91. The pressure at 30.04 inches. And that is still high. Northeast winds for boaters tomorrow, 10 knots. Not much of a sea breeze developing. Seas will be 1 to 2 feet with a light chop out there. That's good news for beachgoers. Once again, that the northeast wind will keep the harmful impacts of the red tide offshore mainly. Tuesday, 40% chance for scattered showers and storms in the afternoon. That's better than the 20% on Wednesday. As that system moves out, another one moves in on Thursday. 50% chance for afternoon storms. Weekend is looking good. Just a few scattered storms around. Notice low 70s I put down on Sunday morning and Monday morning. That's back to more average. Alan will be back with his guest right after this. Stick around.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do.
Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000.
Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Know your land, know your prey.
What are we doing?
Saturdays at 5:30 and Sundays at 2 on the ABC7 live stream.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Welcome back to the State Senate District 23 debate between Republican Joe Gruters and Democrat Olivia Babbis. I don't have to tell either one of you that we have been struggling with red tide and green slime from Lake Okeechobee. And I know there are probably a lot of causes, natural and man-made, that are responsible for them. I want to read you both a quote from the Huffington Post and get you both to react to it and try to talk about who is to blame for the severity of red tide right now and what we can do about it. The Huffington Post reports Rick Scott's administration cut back on monitoring the flows of nutrients into the lake. It ignored scientific studies showing that nitrogen and phosphorus levels in the lake were increasing. It gutted the Department of Environmental Protection and the state's water management districts that were charged with enforcing water protection laws, resulting in dramatically fewer enforcement actions. It is even asked that the Environmental Protection Agency for a waiver from federal monitoring entirely. Joe, you are a supporter of the governor. Your reaction to this?
Well, I've lived here my entire life. I've never seen red tide as bad as it is right now. It's had a devastating impact on our economy, on our marine life. You know, certainly when you see the thousands and the thousands and thousands of dead fish and manatees and turtles, it just breaks your heart, especially being from here. For me, we all know that red tide is naturally occurring, but you just have to go out to Moat Marine and talk to some of the scientists out there where they say there is a direct correlation between man-made pollution and the intensification of red tide. So what can we do? Well, we could make polluters pay, and some people get upset when I say that, but basically and everybody who lives in Florida is part of the problem. All you got to do is look at an aerial map and see the huge growth on the east coast of Florida. It's like a giant wall that's stopping the spread of the outflow of Lake O and of everything else. But certainly when it comes to the environment overall, my guess is we have to do a better job of A, taking care of the man-made pollution that intensifies this, and also B, making sure that we provide the research dollars on a recurring basis. And I've called for a bipartisan action on that to make sure that the Moat Marine can study the different mitigation impacts where we could hopefully, once the bloom comes, we could naturally take care of it.
Olivia, are we all responsible for this, or does government have a role to play either for the positive or for the negative?
We definitely all have a role to play. However, I agree with the Huffington Post piece. I mean, you know, we have Governor Scott that's now wanting to dedicate $2.2 million to research. Well, where was that money in the 2015 bloom? Where was that money in 2016 when you had a bloom? This very much feels like a political maneuver. You know, everybody's an environmentalist during an election year. Where was that research before? Definitely, you know, it's naturally occurring. We know this. We've seen history of red tide dating back to when settlers first came to the United States into Florida. But there's definitely some governmental responsibility in rolling back some of these regulations. In 2016, he signed a law that weakened the standards for the pollutants that can be dumped into our waterways. And that absolutely contributes to it when we can dump more pollutants into the waters, into the coastal waters. That feeds this stuff. So I think that's absolutely contributing to it too as well. I don't think he can call himself an environmentalist when you sign these bills, when you gutted funding for the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. So I think that is definitely, he's accountable for some of those actions.
All right, this issue is so important. We're going to stay on this for a bit, but we have to take a quick break. We are just getting warmed up on our debate for State Senate District 23. It will continue after a quick break, so stay with us.
The final 2018 Accord clearance is now during our model year-end clearance sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American car of the year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for new Accords, all on clearance this week at your local Honda dealer.
I feel happiest when I'm out enjoying my favorite things, like spending time in my garden. That's why I need a Humana Medicare Advantage plan.
Many Humana Medicare Advantage plans cover everything from emergency care and hospital stays to doctor office visits and prescription drug coverage. In fact, last year, Humana Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan members saved an estimated $6,900 on average on their prescription costs. Humana has a large network of doctors and hospitals, plans that include vision and dental coverage, and most plans include Silver Sneakers Fitness and a rewards program, all for a $0 monthly plan premium in most areas.
Now I can be happy and healthy and keep enjoying all of my favorite things.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide and see how a Humana Medicare Advantage plan can help keep you enjoying your favorite things.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
In life after the military, it's our duty as veterans to have each other's back. I'm retired Colonel Greg Gatson, and it's my mission to help you get the benefits and services you've earned. If you need to file a VA claim, remember these important steps. Submit an online claim through ebenefits.va.gov. Work with an accredited Veteran Service Organization, or VSO. And if you need to attend a VA claim exam, please go. Visit this website to learn what to expect.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Find out first at 4 with ABC7 News at 4. Weekdays on ABC7. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back to the State Senate District 23 debate with Republican Joe Gruters and Olivia Babis, the Democrat. And I want to stay on red tide for a second. And Joe, I want to push you a little bit, given the talk about the rollbacks of environmental regulations under this governor who has been in office for 8 years. Your party has controlled the governor's mansion for 8 years. Was it a mistake to roll back some of these environmental regulations?
Well, I'm not going to answer for the governor, and I've only been there for 2 years, but what you can see is just look at Sarasota Bay and look at Tampa Bay, look at Sarasota Bay. This red tide is terrible, it's horrible, but our bay quality has actually improved. You know, if you look at the clarity, if you look at the amount of seagrass growth we've had out in the bay, it's really been amazing. And all I could do is talk about what I do, what I believe in. I know that, well, I know the Governor Scott, there's nothing more important than the economy and jobs. He's been hammering that for the last 8 years. We have one of the best economies in the country here in Florida. We have one of the best economies in Florida right here in Sarasota. And I know that he would not do anything to jeopardize that. So from that standpoint, no, I think Governor Scott I think he's done a great job as governor. As for me, you know, I'm the only Republican in the entire House over the last 2 years to sponsor 3 different bills. I was a co-sponsor on the bill to ban fracking in Florida. I was a co-sponsor on the resolution to continue the moratorium on the Gulf oil drilling. And I was one of only 2 members in the entire House to ask the DEP to come up with a program to take $20 million a year from the Land Acquisition Trust and to put it towards septic tank replacement. One thing we did here successfully in Sarasota that improved our bay quality was Philippi Creek, Lemon Bay, the Donna Bay Preserve in the basin, Celery Fields, all these places where we're having this the septic tank replacement has had a significant impact on our environment, and I think we need to do that statewide. If you're within a certain distance, if your septic tank is leaking, we shouldn't be issuing permits, new permits to any septic tank that's near a waterway, but certainly the ones that are old needs to be replacing. I was one of 2 House members. I'm proud to stand behind that bill, and I'm going to continue to push for common sense legislation like that to prevent these environmental disasters from continuing to happen.
Olivia, Rick Scott is leaving town, so to speak, but do you think he shares a large blame for the severity of red tide right now?
I think he shares some of the blame. I mean, these are issues that have been going on for decades in Florida. So we can't say absolutely he's solely responsible for it, but I think he shares a good amount of the blame. You know, now he's suggesting to try to solve the Lake Okeechobee issue that we now dump the water into the aquifer. So, you know, it's not a big enough problem that we're growing algae and that's being, you know, dumped into the rivers. So now to solve the problem, we want to dump the nutrients into the aquifer and pollute our drinking water. So some of the solutions that he's trying to come up with, or solutions that, if you want to call them that, I think are a bit misguided, and I think you're just trying to solve a short-term problem and causing a major catastrophe later down the road.
Let's move on to other subjects. One of them is school safety, especially after Parkland. At the end of the last session, the legislature passed the School Safety Act that did a number of things, including raising the legal age that you could buy certain weapons, and also the school guardian program and so forth. Olivia, did the legislature go far enough in that legislation? Would you be for banning what they describe as assault weapons altogether? What would you do? What would you be pressing for if you became the next state senator?
I definitely think there should have been an assault weapons ban. We had a federal assault weapons ban from 1996 to 2004, and it was effective. And the Republicans let it expire in 2004, and then we saw an increase in crimes with assault weapons. Most of the massive major shootings that we have seen have been done with assault weapon style weapons. So we've seen how this has been effective. I think that there should be a state law to ban assault weapons if we're not going to do it at the federal level. I do think that there were some major issues with the Marjorie Stoneman Public Safety Act. I think we focused too much on making sure that we had armed guards in the public school versus investing more in mental health and making sure we had guidance counselors in every school. We've talked to people that have talked to the resource officers placed in the school, and they've not been given non-lethal options. They've only been given lethal options. And there was an incident actually on the first day of school at a school in Melbourne where a child that was on the autism spectrum was actually Baker acted by a resource officer that didn't know how to work with that child, or with the disability community. So they're not being properly trained, and I think we're inviting more problems than we're solving with some of the aspects of this bill.
So Joe, let me ask you about that, because you were here right after that, and you voted for the School Safety Act there and to the constitution of the NRA, but would you go further in terms of banning assault weapons, A, and B, we've already seen in communities, including in Manatee and around the state, that some of the guardians that school districts have had to hire were done so quickly that there are people being hired that really have no business being in our schools.
Well, thanks, Alan. And I think the question that everybody has to ask herself is, how important is it that we protect the kids at these public schools? As a parent, I could tell you there's nothing more important. I'm a parent of a public school student. I want these schools to be safe. This bill was not the best bill, but this bill is what we needed. This is what you call a bipartisan bill. You know how hard it is to pass any type of gun restriction in the legislature when you're dominated by two-thirds of the legislature is Republican, and you have Democrats on the other side that want to do so much more. We had to put aside our partisan beliefs, come together for common sense good to protect these kids. What this bill did was it enhanced school safety programs, and I'm for continuing to tweak the bill to make it better, but it also it provided hundreds of millions of dollars for mental health counseling for some of these troubled kids. And ultimately it's going to keep guns away from the mentally ill. I think if this bill was in place before Parkland, we would have prevented that tragedy, and hopefully will prevent more tragedies in the future from happening, because we can't do enough to protect our kids. I'm glad I took that vote, and I'm anxious to see these NRA ratings, because my opponent may have a higher rating than me when they come out.
All right, let's stay on education. Olivia, the question to you, we've heard this over the last few weeks. A group, Integrity Florida, came out with a report about charter schools. The report showed that 160 charter schools failed between 2012 and 2017, with 35 closing between 2015 and 2016. What's your position on the current law in Florida and how the public schools have to contribute to the budgets of the charter schools? Do you want to see it expanded, or do you want to see it reined in?
Absolutely want to see it reined in. We give a $1 per dollar tax credit to businesses to contribute to the voucher school program. And these schools are not accountable at all to the state. They will have principals that don't have degrees. A lot of students with disabilities are coerced onto these scholarship programs, so they're not being providing the services that they should be provided by the public school system. They're coerced onto these programs, told that they'll receive services through the private school system, and they aren't being told that what they're actually doing is signing away their child's right to a free and appropriate public education. And so these private schools don't know how to work with children that are on the autism spectrum. The for-profit charter schools have slightly better management, but still not to the extent that the public schools do. They don't have to meet the same building codes. So it's really not providing school choice for a lot of these kids. We're shortchanging our kids. We're taking $1 billion out of the Florida budget. So it really is just denying education to a lot of our students.
Joe, let me give you a chance to respond.
We need to make sure that public schools have the resources they need to do the job that they have to do for our kids, and that's to provide the best possible education for every child. As for charter schools, I'm a big believer in local control when it comes to education. I'm proud to send my kid to public school. I think we have an amazing system here. I was proud to support the referendum for the additional tax, which taxes all of us as property owners. I think it's the best investment we can make, because at the end of the day, education is the great equalizer. And for anybody who has a problem with charter schools, I mean, look at what we have here. You have the military academy right down the street from here. parents love that, the students love it. You have the Suncoast out on Clark, you have a lot of different charter schools. Those charter schools are not approved by Tallahassee. Those charter schools are approved by the local school board members. So if you have if anybody has an issue with charter schools, they should take it there. In terms of the private schools, the most important thing we could do is provide parents of failing schools the opportunity to send their kids to the best possible school.
We have to take a quick break. We'll be back for closing statements by both candidates when we return. Stay with us.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hut hut! It's the Ghetto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Ghetto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Ghetto location near you or visit Ghetto.com.
Ghetto's got it.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 digital media services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 digital media services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Welcome back. Our candidates will now make their closing arguments, and Olivia, we'll start with you.
Thank you so much for having us tonight. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you so much, Joe, for participating. I just want to say I think that I understand the consequences that policy decisions in Tallahassee have on the day-to-day lives of the people in our communities, that we're not just up there pushing the red button and the green button. Those decisions have real impacts on people. And I think a lot of our representatives have lost sight of that, that they're up there to represent our communities and not just to go up there to represent the people that are making campaign contributions. And I understand that, I see that every day, and I want to go to Tallahassee to make sure that everyone in the community has a voice in Tallahassee and feels that they have adequate representation. So I hope that I can count on your support and that you'll be voting for me on November 6th.
Olivia, thank you. Joe.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you to ABC. And Olivia, thank you for coming out today and for keeping it clean so far in the campaign. It's been an interesting campaign, but it's every time you campaign, you meet so many new people out in the community. It's just, it makes me feel so honored to be able to represent Sarasota, my community that I grew up in, that I love so much, in the legislature as a House member, and I hope that I can continue on that path and continue to serve everybody. When I go up there, I try to find common sense solutions. I try to do what I think is right. I try to fight for my community in all aspects. I want to go back up to Tallahassee to try to get as many resources as we possibly can for all of our projects, for the recurring funding that we need for Moat Marine over the next 7 years, for the Selby Gardens, for the Sarasota Bayfront, for Circus Sarasota, for all these community groups that continuously come up to Tallahassee and seek support. We need someone that can carry Sarasota's mantle, and I know that Olivia is a great candidate and she'd do a great job, but I hope that all of you consider voting for me, because I think I'll go up to Tallahassee and do everything I can to represent you in the best possible manner, to make our community the best possible place to live and work.
Well, we thank you both. We want to thank our guests tonight, Republican Joe Gruters and Democrat Olivia Babis, for joining us. When we return, the FBI's investigation of alleged sexual misconduct by Judge Brett Kavanaugh is underway. What does President Trump think about this now? But right now, let's get the final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. And another shot from ABC7 Tower Cam. Different perspective. You can see Sarasota Bay right there. Some showers off in the distance, dancing across the Gulf as it heads to the east as far as the rain goes. And you can see once in a while a shower or two kind of pops up and dissipates. There's some dry air overhead, but it's going to moisten up a little bit on Tuesday, giving with it a better chance for some showers and storms. You can see that rainfall right now has been mainly to the north and east of us, associated with a trough of low pressure. This is dropping southwestward, as I told you earlier, and the storms are starting to fire up a little bit more so offshore, indicating that there may be a little sea breeze that tried to get going right there. You can see the lightning developing as well with some of the cells offshore of Pinellas County. So we could see a pretty good light show tonight, offshore mainly, but there could be one or two lone showers over land too up until about midnight. We're looking for generally fair skies after midnight, and there's that dry air I mentioned. You can see it kind of getting squeezed out though as it heads to the west, and then we'll get this little punch of moisture back in tomorrow afternoon, bringing with it a better chance for showers and storms, and then followed by a little bit more dry air that will slip in on Wednesday. So our rain chances will be going up and down like a roller coaster, looks like, over the next 4 to 5 days. Now, as far as that disturbance goes, you can see it has brought some heavy rainfall earlier to just south of Jacksonville down to near Daytona Beach. And as I mentioned, that is spreading in our general direction. Well, what happened with Kirk over the weekend? It got beat up badly. All is left is a lot of heavy rainfall down here, and the strong gusty winds are still around. There's nothing organized at this point. I'll keep an eye on it for you, though, in the western and southwestern Caribbean Sea is a favorite area for development late in the season. So right now, although nothing is going on down the road, you never know. We'll see if anything pops up. We know that this is going on right now. This is Leslie, and it's heading to the southwest, and eventually it'll head back to the northeast. Over the next 5 days, it will be moving back and forth, up and down. Elsewhere in the Atlantic, all is quiet at this point. Temperatures currently 77 in Jacksonville, 79 in Orlando. Temperatures all pretty much in the low to mid 80s right now, with the Gulf water temperature at 86 degrees. It feels much warmer than that, as it has been all weekend long. This has been an unusually hot September. I think it was the second hottest September on record for us here along the Sun Coast at the Sarasota Bradenton Airport. 91 the heat index, and 85 the current temperature. East and northeast winds at 11, and the high today was 3 degrees shy of the record high temperature set back in 2005 when it got up to 94 degrees. Well, here's the hourly forecast for our day on Tuesday. We'll start off pretty nice. For your commute to work, should not be a problem weather-wise. Temperatures will be on the warm side to start things off. The heat index already close to 100 by noon, and showers scattered about. A little bit more action tomorrow than we've seen today and over the weekend for that matter. Well, the jet stream really has to drive southward in the eastern third of the nation for us to get cool here. That isn't happening. It's parked well to the north, and that's where all the cool air is bottled up right now. So you never know, we may go directly from summer to winter. The way things are going, it seems like. Right now, temperatures in the current temps, 50s in Minot, 49 in Minneapolis, Chicago, a comfortable 65 degrees, 58 in Boston, but much warmer in Dallas at 85. For boating tomorrow, light chop out there once again, northeast winds at 10 knots, and seas running 2 feet or less with a light chop on the bays and inland waters. The extended forecast then, there's that 40% chance for tomorrow afternoon and evening showers. It drops off on Wednesday, goes back up on Thursday, down on Friday, and you get the picture. It's back and forth, up and down. Sunday and Monday, a 40% chance for storms, and at least will be in the low 70s to start those mornings off. Alan will be right back after this.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook.
Redefining beauty, brains, and what it really means to be queen. Now that's a job for a Girl Scout.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, restaurant guide, and more. Go to mysuncoast.com/dining.
Checking primetime headlines now to the latest on the Supreme Court confirmation battle. The FBI is investigating allegations of sexual misconduct against Judge Brett Kavanaugh, but the probe itself is coming under intense scrutiny. And today the president is weighing in. We go to Washington and ABC's Lana Zach.
President Trump says he wants the FBI to investigate anyone within reason in the sexual misconduct allegations made against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
I think the FBI should do what they have to do to get to the answer. Now, with that being said, I'd like it to go quickly.
The FBI has been given just 1 week to complete its background investigation. Lawyers for Deborah Ramirez say FBI investigators have spoken with her, but so far she's the only one of the 3 named accusers to be interviewed.
Should the FBI interview all 3 of Brett Kavanaugh's accusers?
It wouldn't bother me at all. Now, it depends. I don't know all 3 of the accusers. Certainly, I imagine they're going to interview 2. If there is any credibility, interview the 3rd one.
Should Brett Kavanaugh be interviewed by the FBI?
I think so. I think it's fine if they do. I don't know.
Around the country, protesters rallying around the accusers are urging the FBI to follow every lead. Republican Senator Jeff Flake says he's pushing for a thorough investigation.
It does no good to have an investigation that just gives us more cover.
Flake's support will be crucial to Kavanaugh, who vehemently denies all accusations.
It's a jury of three. It comes to Jeff Flake and Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins. The question is whether they conclude that he should not be supported.
President Trump left the door open if the FBI does find something.
The person that takes that position is going to be there for a long time. I have a very open mind.
More Americans found Dr. Blasey Ford's testimony credible than Judge Kavanaugh's, according to a new poll by Quinnipiac. And there's a major difference when it comes to gender. Just 37% of American women support confirmation compared to 49% of men. Lana Zak, ABC News, Washington.
The Supreme Court beginning a new term today, even though it's a little shorthanded at the moment. The court will make do with only 8 justices after Anthony Kennedy retired. President Trump and Republicans hope to have nominee Brett Kavanaugh seated for the new term, but that changed when Christine Blasey Ford came forward with allegations of sexual assault against Canada. NAFTA renegotiations have finally ended after Canada signed on to an agreement with the U.S. and Mexico last night. The new treaty will now be called the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. The deal allows greater U.S. access to Canada's dairy markets and addresses Canadian concerns about the threat of U.S. auto tariffs. A 60-day review period begins before President Trump can sign it. During that time, Congress can also suggest changes and must approve any final deal. The administration hopes Trump will sign the deal before Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto leaves office on December 1st. Today marks a year since the Las Vegas shooting rampage, the deadliest single-day mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Officials hosted a sunrise remembrance ceremony in honor of the victims. There was music, a release of doves and into the air, and 58 seconds of silence, 1 second for each of the victims killed. The lone gunman opened fire from the Mandalay Bay Hotel suite onto a crowd of concert goers below. After a year-long investigation, authorities still don't know what drove the attacker to carry out the massacre. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.